Pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ren, and this is another episode of Off Season with, of course, your host, Ren. And today we'll be interviewing one of our head coaches, well, actually the head coach for volleyball for the ladies, Mr. Raymond Wilson. Anybody who's heard his name in this country who plays volleyball knows how significant, legendary. I would have to say legendary. You're coming in at the right time, Coach. I was thinking of a word to describe you. I had to go with legendary. That's the thing I always say, legendary.
Legendary makes me sound pretty old, but I'll settle for that.
He was a young man. He was a young man. A man of my stature, my age, would never even try to fight you. Might get beat up.
I appreciate that thought.
But it's a pleasure to interview you. Thank you for coming, making time for off season. We've done every head coach, and we were waiting on you. You know, no, I lie. We still have to do golf, but it is my pleasure. And I saw that you watched the recent episode this Thursday with Ms. Woodside. What did you think about it?
I think it was a pretty good interview. Rika Kim, she's come a long way. I did not know that she was that advanced in basketball. So, you know, that gives us a great opportunity to have a player who has crossed the line like myself. I played basketball also. So
we're getting into that today. We're gonna get into that today.
Yeah.
So
but it was a good interview.
Thank you, man. And she did a great job as well. Sadly, I think her first half is better than the second. We were going for about 30 minutes, a dynamic interview. And of course, due to matters we couldn't control, Instagram disconnected us. But today, let's get started. I'm happy to interview you. You gave me a little sneak peek into a question, my first question, which is, where did your athletic pursuits begin? I could see you're a tall man like myself, so I wasn't a fool to believe you only played volleyball. So let the audience know, maybe as early as primary school or even earlier, where were you kind of aspired or inspired to do sports?
Well, I started out at a very early age with volleyball. I didn't know at the time that volleyball was going to be the final part of my sporting career. My sister, she went to Aquinas College with a player that has now passed. Her name was Jan Mortimer, and
Okay.
they used to come in the road. They used to come in the road and they'll play volleyball, and I would hit the ball around with them. But then as time passed, I started playing basketball at the age of 11. And at high school, one day I was passing the volleyball court, and Coach Cartwright was working with the volleyball team. And he was teaching them a particular service. And he was angry because nobody was able to get it. So he said, any JA should be able to do this. You know what I mean? Why is it that you all are having such difficulty? And so as I was passing, he called me, he said, son, come here. And he said, try this. And so I tried the service, and it worked. And he was like, everybody said, oh, that's luck. And after the third time, it worked 3 times in a row. So he said, son, sorry for calling you a JA, but what is your name and would you like to play volleyball? So that's how my volleyball career got started. I played basketball for a team called Beck's Cougars back in the day. I played small forward and guard. And after I came back from school, everybody was trying to get a reputation of me because they realized who I was. So whenever I go and play, I would end up getting injured. So I started volleyball again in the Bankers League.
Okay.
And from then on, my love switched from basketball to volleyball.
That is excellent, man. And I think that's a great overview of it. But we're going to go zooming in on parts of it. You mentioned going off to college. And of course, in your time, I think even more than now, a lot of Bahamians desired to go off to college, but it wasn't easy. Tell us about how you transitioned, and also what high school you went to, but tell us how you transitioned from high school to college. Was it easy or hard?
It was the first semester was very hard. You know, first semester at college was very hard. I went to CC Sweeting, and I came up under Coach Grant, Tom the Bird Grant. He was my volleyball coach, my basketball coach. And persons like Rodney Johnson and Larry Cartwright, who was once the NP for them, for the F&M, he was my maths teacher and my volleyball coach.
Okay.
From CCA, I went off to university. I didn't have an opportunity to play college ball, but I played in tournaments over there with club teams. The transition was pretty hard because early on in my life, I did not take my education very serious.
Okay.
And the foundation is English and mathematics. And so when I reached college, I had little difficulty I had much difficulty in the first semester because my foundation in those two particular subjects was a problem. And so what I had to do, I had to catch up on those years that I had missed and those years that I had played around. Yes, I graduated from high school with a
Right.
3.0 average.
Right.
But at the same time, the reason why I was able to do that because of my love for sport. And the coaches at CC Sweeten at the time, unless you had a 2.0 average, they did not allow you to play any sport. So because I wanted to play sport, I had to catch up on my education. And so when I reached the college, English and maths played a vital role in my getting further. And so what I did, I had to do some studying on my own. I got this book called English for Dummies and Maths for Dummies. And and I had to study those things to try and catch up. I got an E my first semester. The next semester, after much hard work, I got an A. So I would encourage young athletes to understand that you cannot make it unless you hit the bumps.
And I wanna stay here because this is a key conversation that I don't think we had on any other show, which is the academic struggles that some athletes have. And just like you, I had phonetic challenges, right? So I didn't learn how to read until grade 10. So to have someone who's now, like I said, in the history books in the Bahamas, as well as the head coach of the university's volleyball team, saying how challenging athletics played, what kind of advice or actually what strategies would you maybe inspire a young high schooler who's having those difficulties to pick up? Or what habits you think that they could pick up to make a difference?
See, what amazes me is that the environment that an athlete find themselves in university, not just an athlete, but any university student, it's much easier because in high school, you have your mom, your dad, and probably they could afford a tutor or somebody to help you. It could help you along the way. But in college, you have persons who are assigned to assist you in your development academically. It fails me to see where athletes find themselves in a position whereas they know they are failing, but they would not seek help. The help is there. And I commend the University of the Bahamas for the program that they have set in place, because everything that is set in place at the University of the Bahamas is there to make you a better, not just a better athlete or a better student, but a better person and a better citizen. And all it is to take advantage of the moments of going to study. I love my summer. So I'm going to do everything in my power to avoid having to go to study hall or go to do summer classes.
Right,
So I would advise the young athletes, pay attention. Someone said to me once that, if you work hard whilst you're young, you wouldn't have to work hard whilst you're older.
Right.
Whilst you're young, you put in the time, you work hard, you make the sacrifices, so that when you become older, life becomes easier. If you compare the salary of a person coming straight out of high school as compared to somebody who coming out of university, there's a large difference in salary, in the salary base. So
Right.
so it's your choice. Either you can make peanuts or you're gonna make some gold.
And I think that's some good insight. Of course, we encourage every athlete at the university to aim for that final destination, which is graduation. So we're going back to you playing basketball in college, and you said you played, I think, guard and small forward.
Small forward, yeah.
And tell us about playing internationally. Which university was it again? And also, maybe give us the in between. Like now that we know that, okay, you had to get your academics, but give us what happened after that until graduation abroad.
Well, my situation in college was similar to that of the university, whereas I went to a small school called Border College. It was a college slash technical school. We did not play in any of the leagues over there, but what we did, we formed a club. So we played in a local club.
Okay.
Over there. And so a lot of the players who played at university, they played against. And the thing about it, with regards to me and playing university ball, it comes right back to grades. Okay, because I had at least 6 basketball scholarships.
Right.
But because of my grades and the years that I missed, I was not, see, because you have to be able to go through 13 the core courses that is required of you to be able to play university sport. And the 13 core subjects that was required of me, I did not have.
Okay.
Now my SAT score, my ACT scores were pretty good, but when you talk about NCAA, the requirement is very hard on a foreign athlete to get into a program. So what I just did, I just decided that, you know something, I already had 2 kids on the way, Tia and Prince. They were on the way, already here. Actually, it was 3 because I got married right out of high school. I decided that night.
Whoa,
Married out of high
coach.
school, and so
Whoa. We have a little pause. Oh man, if I see it getting worse, I'll save it and we'll open this back up. That one hit me hard, ladies and gentlemen. That hit me hard.
I had a call come in and
All right,
interrupt.
no,
But
it's fine. You hit no. Let's pause there. Don't just sneak that up on me again. As a young man, that's a heavy one, straight out of high school. Wow, and I think this is relevant as well, right? Because I know personally we have a lot of athletes on our team who have children. And
yeah.
so let's I think this is the time, of course, we can inspire them and give them some nuggets, but how did you balance marriage with high school? I mean, not with high school, marriage with college, with athletics. Like that's a triple threat.
Well, what pushed me because like after I got really involved with basketball, and I would go to tryouts and we'll travel off to the States to try and get into university. And most coaches at that time was not pushing for me because they knew that I was married. So they would tell persons, oh, this one is married, so la 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 ray ray ray. And they would talk for the persons who they were more interested in the program. But I realized that I wanted to be a man. Okay, and having a kid, a young daughter out of high school. Her name is Trivon. My second is Tia, and my boy is Prince. I also have a daughter named Kianis, called her Kiwi. But when I went to university, 3 was already here. I was a young man working at Citibank as a teller, and I went into found out how much I qualified for a mortgage. Being very young, and I sat down with the mortgage manager. He said, "Well, you qualify for $35,000." So I burst out crying because what kind of a home can you put a child in or a family in at $35,000?
Yeah.
At that time I had already saved about $17,000. So I made a decision that, listen, I have to do something to increase my salary level, my base level, and improve myself. Okay, and I spoke with my wife at the time. I'm a divorcee, my first wife. I spoke to my wife at the time, and she was against it because being young, her friends is telling her all kind of stuff. Oh, these guys, when they go off to university or go off to college, they don't come back. They find American life and, so forth. But I said to her, I said, me going is to benefit us. I said, and if it benefits me, it's going to benefit you. I said, but this is a sacrifice that I have to take, that we have to take. And so that's why I used the money that I had and I enrolled at college.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out because I went to college and I came back. When I came back in 87, I was able to build my house within a year.
Congratulations.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I was able to build my house within a year. And so that was the goal. And I'm thankful to God that, that he allowed me to be able to go for it. And the first semester I was ready to come back home. But I said, something, after failing, I said, something, I sacrificed a job. I sacrificed my family on the line. I said, something, I said, I have to do this for my family.
Right.
I have to do this for them. And because I had to do it for them, I said to myself, and the old lady told me too, old people always telling me things. She said, sometimes the gift that God gives you is not for you. It's for you to pass on to somebody else. It's for you to pass on to your next generation or those who happens to cross your path. And what I did when I came back home, all the gifts that I knew, it was basically pertaining to sports, was every sport I knew I taught my kids. Basketball, volleyball, soccer, softball, track and field. I taught them everything. And the goal was that one of those things that they try would be their ticket, their ticket to a better education.
So this is, and my next question was going to be probably some tips or insight on how to make it through COVID. But I feel like your story itself with telling the young person, like some people looking at it like I got a high school, I got a tough, or I in college and I got a tough. Man, this man was married with children, with no way to get his mortgage, and made decisions that put him in even more difficult situations, right? Your decision led you to college, and your first semester you was ready to back out like, hey, but it's good to hear.
Come back home.
It's good to hear the silver line in the end of the road, and of course, this leads us straight into now the conversation of who I believe the country knows you most prominently for, which is Raymond Wilson, the volleyball expert, the head coach, and I want to tap into it. I've only heard rumors. I'm a young man. I've only heard rumors of what you've done in volleyball. But I would like for this time, for the audience, for our listening audience, for you to share your growth in the volleyball arena post-graduation.
Well, see in life, when you look at life, some people go out and they look to create a name for themselves. But for some reason, I never thought that I would have become a volleyball coach and trainer. It was not in my mind and my thought to do so. But life has a way of determining the outcome of your history. And how I got into coaching at the national level was my kids again. I was teaching them what I knew. And we used to go down to SAC every evening, and I would teach them how the fundamentals of the sport. And one day, the numbers just keep on growing. As people came to work out and exercise, they wanted somewhere where their children could be in an environment where it's kind of safe while they work out, rather than having to always be telling them do this, do that. And because they saw me out there every day with my kids, they asked me if it's okay for their kids, to join in. And so I said, no problem. And so the numbers just start getting larger and larger and larger. And it's ironic that in 1997, I know it's a long time ago, but 1997, we started in our zone the volleyball, the CAC, the CBC volleyball championships in our region. That entails Barbados, the Bahamas, USVI, Kosovo, all of those countries. But at the time, it was said that the Bahamas did not have a junior team, and it's ironic at the time that Corey Hepburn was the president of the Bahamas Volleyball Federation at the time, and Jenny Isaac Dobson, she was one of the first vice president of the federation at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And word got to them that I had a group of young persons that I was working with, and it's possible for us to field a team to represent the country.
Mm-hmm.
And all that being said, they approached me. We started working with a group of individuals, and the first team that represent the Bahamas truly internationally as a national team was under Corey Hepburn and Jenny Isaacs, and I was a coach along with Craig Cartwright, and that was in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't do well.
Hold on. You built that up so good. I was like, boy, this could be a golden story. And we didn't do well.
No, we didn't do well. We didn't do well at all. We came last, actually. Yeah, we came last because, we had the wrong idea of what the junior national teams and programs was like. Mm. We thought it was like high school level and so forth and so on. So we went with a lot of young kids, green, and who didn't know nothing much. Mm. Who didn't know nothing much about the sport. And we had some great persons at that time, but they were very young. We had Kelsey Johnson, Malaya Petit, Ramel Lightburn, and Prince Wilson. We had a lot of good talents at that time, Chanel Andrews, but they were young and inexperienced. Okay. So we came last. That was in 1997. 1999, we went to Jamaica and came fifth.
Okay.
That's when we added another name from UB. We added Ronaldo Knowles to the team.
Okay.
We came fifth. And a coach from Cuba came down for 6 months with us, Coach Anna from Cuba. She was assigned to the Bahamas Volleyball Federation, and I tutored under her for 6 months.
Okay.
I tutored under her for 6 months, yeah. And when she saw what we had to work with, she said, in order for us to achieve what the other countries are achieving and get to that level, even if we consider getting to the level of Olympics, we have to work every day, not just 2-3 days a week. We have to work every day. So we work every day except Sunday. And then in 1999, we went to Jamaica, became fifth. Still not good enough.
Right.
Ronaldo was on that team at the time. And after 99, we went to Suriname in 2001, and we won a silver medal.
Okay.
And it started from there. And from 2001, then I went to in 2002 I went to Peru, and I got my level 3 certificate in coaching, international coaching. I can coach at the Olympic level.
Okay.
And that was my biggest achievement. It was a hard course because it was a 30-day course in Lima, Peru. Coming back from Lima, Peru, we went to Martinique, and we got silver there again. Hate to say it, being some of the thing of saying they rob us, right? But we really got cheated in Martinique. Yeah, we got cheated because the officials they cheated against us. Netherlands won, and prior to going to the championship match, we beat the home country.
Oh.
And a home country president ended up being the official who called the final game. But that game, when we beat the home country, they had to call the army to escort us out of the gymnasium. They had to, because persons were threatening us because we beat the home country. Yeah, we won the threat. And so what happened was the army had to form a line from the gymnasium to the bus, and we had to walk between the line that the army formed in order to get onto the bus to get from the gymnasium to the bus. And persons were showing us their weapons on the outside, But we still went into the gold medal round, and we won a silver match. So that was at the junior level prior to me going into the senior level.
Okay. And I don't mean to pause it there, but there's a lot of stuff, man. Once again, I don't see a reason for anybody not to pick out any bit of tidbits or motivations from this. To know that your winning could result in threats, that's it's a scary thing.
Yeah, see, we have to understand in our country that sport is no plaything. Sport is no plaything. People still have the impression that sports is just kids or young people go over there and kicking the ball around or batting the ball around or spiking the ball around, and there's no advantage to it, you know. But today in this world, sporting is a career. You know, many of our athletes may not get to play professional ball, like the Baron Ferguson and Shinari and those guys, and like my son Prince. They may not get to play professional, but they will be able to get an education. If you look at our country, a lot of the persons who are in leadership position now in our country, they got their start through sport. You know what I mean? Because they were able to play a particular sport. That was their ticket to become successful business persons in this country. And so it's not just a kids running around the streets playing ball no more, but it's an opportunity for us to make persons who are not as fortunate as other persons who have the money to send their kids to the university to get to university.
And I feel your passion. We have a lot of comments coming inside the comment section. Everybody's talking about their passion, your love of the sport, the knowledge that you're laying, the memories. And if anybody listening, they would understand this isn't just an interview. This is a history lesson, I would say. And there are a lot of questions I am having in my mind, but we have to be respectful of time. So I'm only going to ask you one more question. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to cut this feed because I don't want to lose this at all. And we're going to come back for a question and answer period. Please save your questions for the next rendition when we come back. But my final question was a mixture of what I asked Eureka, but you touched on it, which is the teaching in high school doesn't compare or is not at the same level that we need to be for the Olympics and for these outer rims, right? So Ulrika mentioned that when she was in high school, she learned what I learned, the rotation, the simple bump, spike, dot. But when she came to college under your tutelage, she learned about positioning and what the position means and movement and rotations. Can you speak to what's needed perhaps in the high school system and for high schoolers who are prospectively looking to become Mingoes? Can you speak to that? What's needed and probably how we need to transform the high school programs to become more collegiate and champions?
See, my point right now is not going to be a political one, you know, because Bahamians, we seem to take everything as a political, But I feel that the government, okay, what needs to happen, we need to look at our educational programs, not just the English, the master geography, the histories and so forth, but also the sporting programs. And right now, coaches in the high school system, they're fighting for various disciplines because they know that at the end of the day, they're going to get X, Y, Z in monies for the programs that they coach. Mm-hmm. So if I could coach three programs, that's a good chunk of change at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. But can you truly develop 3 programs successfully? I think what needs to happen is that they started a certification program, but to have one coach coaching 3 disciplines, 4 disciplines, that is hurting the athlete, because here it is, if I don't have the time to put in quality time into teaching my children the proper development of the sport, okay, you'll find that what's happening now is that sport is on a roller coaster. Some years you have a good program or a good league. Some years you don't, okay, because there's no development. Then you have coaches who are telling their players they can only play one discipline, you know, and that is certain our programs. Because we're a small nation, mm-hmm. You know, we have a population around 370,000 people. We're a small nation, so mm-hmm. A lot of times we're gonna have athletes coming from across the divide. and playing a different discipline. It's always been the case, you know. But that needs to change, whereas we are producing quality athletes in every discipline.
Right.
Sometimes you go into the gym and you see in basketball, they're just running up and down the court, no structure. Okay? The volleyball, they're playing like tennis or ping pong, no structure. Okay, so what happens is now when they get to the university level or club level, rather than teaching them strategies with regards to within a game or within a tournament, the coach now and the trainer now has to go through a development program. And see, the development program becomes hard because what needs to happen now is that I need to start this player might be good and has excelled well in high school. But now at the next level, right, they're playing off raw talent and they're making a lot of mistakes. So you have to break that quality athlete down and restructure them, which is very hard on trainers and coaches because it's harder to retrain than to train. Okay, so a lot of the athletes they're coming in green or they're coming in skilled but untrained. So your program, 90% of your time is going to be spent on developing that athlete to get them to where you want them to go. And that is very, very good. But one of the things that coming into University of the Bahamas, we implemented, I brought in a slogan, and it's the 5 Ps, you know, and the 5 Ps simply is proper preparation prevents poor performance. So you can't expect to excel in performance if you're not prepared to make proper preparation.
Amen. And I think, Coach, what we're going to do, because it's getting a little shaky, and I don't want to lose this interview. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close this and call it the end to that segment. And we're coming back for the Q&A session. So save your questions, log back in. We'll be back in less than 15 seconds.